Hello, good evening and welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Sim Grids here on YouTube. It's time yet again for another round of More Female Racers Season 6 powered by Mercedes-AMG. I hate to break this to you, not Ash Vandelay this week. It's Dave Christie stepping in for Ash alongside the incredibly talented Sam Pearce. Sam, it's been a while since I've jumped in. I think it was for you I was filling in last time. What have I missed so far while we're here at Watkins Glen?
Good to have you back, David. And you've missed an epic series so far. It's been really tight battles, and AM class is like literally razor thin on the points. So yeah, really exciting as we head out over to America and Watkins Glen.
We certainly are. We are off to Watkins Glen. As you said, Watkins Glen International, the spiritual home of American road racing. And crowds have been flocking here to see the action since the 1940s for all different kinds of formulas, from Formula 1 to the Can-Am Championship and even the old NASCAR Cup Championship. Here's a reminder then of what we saw last time out at Imola then. Honor Rose Ford Queen's design, perhaps unsurprisingly taking race 1 there in the pro class. But one of the things that we were talking about off air was the fact that yet again another AM winner, Penelope Dobbins, taking that race 1 win. That means that we've had 6 different winners for AM over the course of the season. And again, just looking at that, the AM Championship, we'll come on to that in just a second here, is so close. Confirmation there though that Honor Rose taking the second win, absolutely off like a scalded cat in the championship, and Penelope Dobbins taking that AM win. So again, with those different winners here, Sam, Honor Rose leading the championship, 92 points now. It's starting to look a little bit difficult for the likes of Alexa Gates and Victoria Thompson to catch up to Honor Rose, but it's not impossible, still within the bounds of possibility. But it's the AM Championship that most excites me, and from what we were saying off air, yourself as well. Lisa Louise in the lead of that championship, but that gap is non-existent. Maya LaFerla and Eris Aphelion within 3 points, and then you've got Maren Edwards, Natalie Lee, you've got Olivia Hayward, Charlotte Robertson and Catherine Rosie all within a shout. But the big news, as we noticed there, Penelope Dobbins going from AM up to pro.
Yeah, and that slotted her straight into P6 in the pro class. And considering that Penelope missed round 1 at Zolder, so jumping straight in at P6 with only 2 rounds under her belt, I'm not surprised at all that she's been brought up to the pro class. Very quick, accomplished driver. So fantastic to see.
It really is. So this is the 6th series of what has been a very successful campaign for the Sim Grid. We've seen new female racers come in and have their first ever experience of sim racing. We've seen very established names come in and have a go as well, and we've even seen females teaming up together to become Sim Grid Endurance Cup champions in Split 3, and they've then went to go on and race in the SRO esports race globally. So this is a fantastic springboard for fresh female talent, for existing female talent, and just to really champion the cause of female sim racing here, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got my start in season 3 of More Female Racers. It was my very first competitive experience in sim racing. Absolutely loved it, and have not looked back. And we actually welcome another driver out into MFR this evening, Kerry Burton. We see on screen at the minute. This is her first race with MFR. And from what we understand, relatively new to sim racing as well. So going to be really interesting to see how Kerry gets on tonight.
Well, that's exactly what we are going to be having a look at. Beautiful livery on that car, actually. It looks almost like, reminds me of one of those patchwork quilts that you used to get, and a cross between that and a tie-dye shirt. But yeah, absolutely loving that. So we'll be seeing how Carrie gets on. Of course, remember, it's the Mercedes-AMG 2020 version that the drivers are all in, the GT3 machine, as we see Eris Aphelion here making their way around. The qualifying session is split up into 3 different groups. Then you've got your AM class, you've got your pro-ams, and then you've got your pros as well. So they'll all be heading round and doing their different things into the season. And of course, you can tell that I'm completely used to doing so many different championships. I've got myself middled up there because it's only AM and pro, isn't it? So we'll just pretend I didn't say that. It's fine. You didn't hear anything, right? Listen, if they've got me on,
well recovered.
If they've got me on, they know that that's going to be the least of the mistakes that I'm going to be making tonight. But either way, it's going to be split into 2 sessions. The great thing about this as well is that it really does give the different classes a chance to just do their own thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, mixed qualifying, it can be challenging, and it's a skill that you've got to kind of then develop of, how to create your own space when there are so many different skill levels on track and at any one time. I always find it much easier to qualify when you're in a pack of similar pace. So having qualifying split out into AMs and pros like this, it just makes it a lot easier. You can just concentrate on your own laps and get the best position that you can.
It really is a beautiful circuit here at Watkins Glen. We are currently on board the number 3 car just now, just heading up the back stretch here. This is a fantastic part, Trezone Integrale on the way around. This is then towards the inner loop, the fantastic little sort of jinking chicane that really is going to catch quite a lot of the drivers out. Certainly catches me out quite a bit. I do prefer the section or the layout of the track without the inner loop. It's a lot faster, but I think this is much more exciting for us to watch as well. Coming down round the chute then, up and through the gears, and it's a slight uphill here through the toe section of the circuit, aptly named, because when you look at the circuit, it does look like this is a boot that they're going round here. So this is the boot section of the track into the heel, this right-hander that then leads you down into the final couple of corners, then on the run down the hill and then up the hill as well into the left-hander. This is one of the most tricky parts of the circuit, I feel, because it's very easy to get a little bit greedy with the throttle here and let the rear end of the car take off. Then again, another left-hander here, and you want to avoid that section on the right as well, because over the curb there on the right-hand side, the car will just wash out away through the right-hander and then across the lap here. So let's see what Carrie Burton does across the lap. 151.005, 152.885, and again we're starting to see the times come down very quickly indeed here, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, then this is one of those really nice flowing tracks that when you stitch everything together, it just feels really nice and relaxed. But any point you get a wheel wrong, and it can go from relaxed to stressy very quickly.
Something it's like you've been watching me, Sam, when I get behind the wheel in this thing, because stressy is one of the words that I would very much use to describe the circuit. The way the undulations go and the curves on this track, it makes me remind myself a little bit of Oulton Park. I always see the right-hander there up the hill on the toe. That reminds me quite a lot of Shell Oil Corner as well. Just the fact that it's so satisfying when you get that corner right, and you can end up leaving with a lot of speed and gaining a lot of time on the cars in front. So it's like you said, it's one of those tracks that makes you feel fantastic when you do get it right. But it's also one that can be very straightforward to get right. However, getting it right lap after lap after lap, that is going to be the key thing here. We're seeing our top 3 cars here separated by what looks like about 3, 4, 5 tenths of a second, maybe just over a second. Charlotte Robertson there actually as across the line, and Rosie in pole position in 149.2. So I mean, for yourself, from what you've seen so far this season then, Sam, from the AMs here, we've obviously seen the championship table here, but how important do you think qualifying is going to be?
I think it's vitally important. When we're starting to get into the tail end of the season, this is round 5. We've got one more round left. So then these drivers, they've got us. They're going to have in the back of their mind that points are starting to get really, really tight. There's also less number of rounds available for them to try and build a gap. So qualifying vitally important here, because there is a little bit of overtaking on opportunities and around Watkins Glen, but not as many as some of the other tracks on the calendar. So qualifying definitely going to be important. Getting in a nice, good, comfortable grid slot to set you up good in a good standing for the race, really, really important.
Well, I think championship leader Lisa Louise has got that memo from yourself there, Sam, because 146.4,
Wow.
That is a blisteringly fast lap, 1.6 seconds ahead of everyone else, setting the cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak, on that one, as Martin Edwards up into third position. But brilliant start for Lisa Louise, and this is exactly where you want to be trying to make these moves and trying to really set these gains wherever possible. Catherine Rosie, though, in that second place there, 1.6 seconds here. We're still watching Carrie Burton then on her debut for more female racers. A little bit wide right that corner, but a lot of speed out there. That looks very fast indeed. That's almost certainly going to be an improvement on the time for Carrie Burton. Goes across, and no, it's not. That's very surprising, because that last third looked very impressive indeed. But Lisa Louise comes across the line again, and that is an even faster time, 145.9. That is sensational. We saw, though, Maya Laferla improving there as well, but that is almost certainly going to be the last lap for qualifying then for Lisa Louise. And that's a lap and a half right there.
It is, and I'm interested to see where that lap pans out once our pro drivers have taken to the track as well, because that is a stonking lap. So I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being, an up and amongst the pros.
That is what we're going to have to see. We're seeing quite a lot of support coming in on YouTube chats. Always fantastic to see. A very good evening to everyone that goes there. Zeris Aphelion smacks it into second place there, 146.095. Now we're going to start to see the times come tumbling down here. But good evening to Pranav Kavala, to Sims Racing, to Mark Neutlings, Kraken Tortoise, and to Skylar V. Now, Skylar V is asking about what is the track vote going to be this week. Well, we will tell you very shortly. As soon as that track vote comes on, we will announce it. We will tell you the tracks, but I will make clear what one that I want it to be. I will make no bones about that one. But that is going to be qualifying, I think, done for the AMs very shortly. And what a qualifying session that is. We're watching Charlotte Robertson making their way around to start possibly their final lap just now. But yeah, 145.9, Sam. That is a stonking lap. However, it's very well, it's all very well having a great time. But again, it's how well you do in the race. And that time from Eris Aphelion being so close, that makes it very interesting to me.
Yeah, it does. And Lisa Louise and Eris Aphelion, they are right up at the top of that championship, with Maya Laferla separating the two of them. 3 points separates Lisa, Maya, and Eris. So no doubt they are going to be keeping an eye, one eye on the points, another eye on the track, and trying to just optimize position, and probably keeping a close eye on each other as to where everybody finishes. But you were mentioning about the track vote. It is now live.
Right, so two tracks that we've got for our next round in, Kyalami and Laguna Seca. Now, me and you, Sam, we had an interesting little discussion, I'll say, before.
Yes.
What were you voting for?
Slight differing of opinion, I think, as opposed to discussion. I am all for Kyalami. Laguna Seca, great classic track, but I personally cannot drive it. I just cannot wrap my head around the corkscrew. I drive it 1 in 10 times, I might get the corkscrew right. So between those two, I will always opt for Kyalami. Absolutely love Kyalami as a track. Fantastic in the night, and really, really good fun. So yeah, I am Kyalami all the way.
See, I'm having to go for Laguna Seca. It's one of the first tracks that I learned back in the day on iRacing in the little Mazda MX-5 Cup, and it's just such a wonderful, wonderful flowing track. If you get a stable car underneath you, it is just so much fun. As that was a big moment there for Martin Edwards coming round the final corner. So as we said, Track Vote is now live on the YouTube channel. Go and hit that up and let us know what you think. But as it stands, still Lisa Louise in pole position, and here comes Josie Austin then to set their fastest lap. So we've got the pro drivers away to start heading out onto track very shortly. The thing with it is that obviously we've got another driver that we haven't seen for quite a while. Mia Rose is back to the mix and set to come out and play tonight. Yeah,
Lynn, absolutely lovely to see Mia back with MFR. We were discussing this on off air with Michael Hamlet, and we believe the last time that we saw Mia racing with MFR was back in season 3. So been a while since Mia's been with us, but lovely to see her back, and can't wait to see what she does. Could potentially give Honore, a former teammate, bit of a run for her money tonight, maybe.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to have to wait and see. But 16 minutes left to go in qualifying, and we turn our attention now to the pros, and that is going to be a very interesting thing. I think we're going to have a couple of AMs actually mixing it up with the pro drivers tonight, and that is always great fun because they don't start in their respective positions, if that makes sense. So they will start basically in their different classes. With that though, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be the potential for some hijinks going on. And I love the fact that the AM drivers, it has to be a consistent performance gain that they have for them to be considered to be moving up to pro. But the first thing that we have to talk about now, and now we're moving on to pros then, is the fact that, as we said, we've got a driver being promoted up into the pros, and it's been a very, very good start to the season for Penelope Dobbins.
Yeah. And as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Penelope getting slotted straight into P6 in that pro class, and with that's even with just doing the 4 races. So she's dominated in the pro class, winning in each round out. So I don't think Penelope's going to have any problems slotting into pro class. She's been mixing it up with them on track all season anyway. So I expect her to just fit right in, get her head down, and continue to put in some really, really great results.
Well, disappointingly, it looks like Kyalami's in the lead, 70% to 30% right now with what's going on. But that is the 15 minutes up, so that is qualification done and dusted. We'll be getting the pros out very shortly as Martin Edwards makes their way around for the final time. They're looking very smooth in that 587 out the final corner. Very easy to get that final corner wrong and actually graze the barrier on the left hand side. Great improvement from Marin, just moves up the 1 position though, up into P4. So that will be 4th position, as here comes Anora Rose. Now, it's been no surprise to see the pace and the dominance from Anora Rose, but I guess what we've seen this season is that it's not always guaranteed to go Anora's way.
It hasn't. I mean, and Anora has, she's won every race out so far this season, but she's had to fight occasionally for it. It hasn't been a complete runaway. Both Alexa and Victoria giving her a little bit of a challenge, but I think having Mia back into the championship, as we see on screen and at the minute, they are teammates, but I have no doubt that Mia is not going to hold back in the slightest. So be very, very interesting to see where then the two of them place, and if Mia is going to give Anora that little bit of a challenge that we've been hoping for.
I was waiting to say, because there's like the little bit inside of us, it's like, yeah, come on, we want to see a little fight going on here. We want to see a great championship and a great fight, and I think that there's always the risk when a single driver runs away with the championship that it can... what we should be doing is going, oh my god, that's an amazing performance, but sometimes we fall into that trap of maybe downplaying it and thinking, oh, they had it easy, when realistically, this is all talent. I mean, Anora Rose is one of the fastest drivers out there, and for other drivers to even approach that level, even come close, is that's a massive sign of kudos to them. But it just makes it even more entertaining for us. We like chaos. What can I say, Sam?
We do, yes, but it's very. I think it's very important to pick up on what you said, that it is easy for us as spectators and commentators to get just get a little blasé about some of the performances that Anora Rose has been putting in week after week after week. But what I always find really, really fascinating about drivers like Anora is the consistency. Consistency just blows my mind, because I know how difficult it is to be consistent week after week after week. You have a great week, and then you have a really bad week, and then you've got an okay week, and then a diabolical week. Whereas drivers like Anora that are at the absolute top of their game, their level of consistency is just mind-blowing, and that is what I find.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. It's like first lap in, and it's like just demolish all the times, take all the times off the board. The pros are here. But Mia Rose and Anora Rose, 5/1000ths of a second. That's quite tasty. I'll have some of that.
But Mia in the lead.
That's let's leave that one on ice for the next 10 minutes and see if that happens. That's I'm expecting violence, but not like this. Good lord. But what I would say is, we've seen them together on the time screens before, and it's always very orderly. It's always very, very good. However, there is Alexa Gates on demand, 143.792. We got a party here now with 10 minutes left to go, and if that's their first fast lap in, what the hell are they capable of?
The times are going to start to come down now that this is one of those tracks that you need to kind of get into a rhythm, and yes, these first laps really, really impressive. But I don't think we've seen, we've not seen the best of these drivers yet. We've still got another 10 minutes in this qualifying session. I think then those times are going to continue to come down.
Yeah, for sure. Got to give a big shout out to Richard Pixley. He is shouting on his boss, Therese Pope, and Natalie as well, from Wild Things Racing. So they are out there. Beta Bachenska is a name that I've not really seen throughout the season. We saw quite a lot through some of the previous seasons for Hot and Spicy Racing, but it comes across the line just now. good improvement there, 146.0, but again, not quite enough. I mean, that's good 2.5 seconds off of the top runners right now. Skylar Vixen then heading round out the final corner, but Noah Rose, I think that was maybe a firm sort of smack across the bow there to say that that they're in charge, 143.3. So that gap now 2/10 of a second, almost 3/10 of a second. It is 3/10 of a second, excuse me, ahead of Mia Rose as Denise Pope comes across the line, moves up even faster, 145.5, 8 3/4 minutes left to go in the session, and that's Ruby Acosta. Slight suspension damage, aka that car is absolutely goosed.
Yeah, just giving the wall just a little bit of a side swipe there. Very, very easy to do around this track. There are, several places on this track where the walls are very, very close. Not quite as bad as Bathurst, but can easily catch you out if the back end just lets go a little bit. Can just pull you off into those Armco barriers. So yeah, definitely one to watch out for, and it's something that I find very kind of almost mesmerizing about this track, is that it invites you to go faster and faster because it's so flowing. But once you reach the limit of the skill, the walls are very, very right there.
They're very intimidating. I totally agree with what you're saying there. It's very, very frightening. But in the grand scheme of things, if you have a planted and solid car and you have the confidence in what you're doing, you don't seem to notice that because they feel a million miles away. But when the car is loose and it's sliding and it's on the edge of control, suddenly that's when you get a little bit more nervous of them, and that's when they become a little bit larger than they actually are because of that fear. However, Sarah Dove up into P4, that's who we're having a look for just now, currently making their way down through the second half of the circuit. Just what's that, about 5/10 of a second, half a second off at the pace of your race leader. Goes wide there and decides to call it a day as we look to Skylar Vixen currently down in P14. So 7 minutes left to go. We've had some ridiculously fast lap times set in now by the top 5, and if you're outside of that top 5, you don't really get a chance to rest. You have to just keep going and try and chipping away at that time.
Yeah, I mean, and I fully suspect that the top runners, they've got plenty of time to go throw on a new set of boots and go out and see what they can do to cut those times in even more. So yeah, but still quite tight up at the top. 4/10 between the top 3. So I would certainly expect everyone to head out again for at least one more lap in the next coming 6 minutes.
So as we said, 6 minutes left to go in the qualifying session here. This is the pro section that is at Watkins Glen. This is more female racers. Season 6 powered by Mercedes-AMG, and we are already a significant chunk of the way through the season. We've had a wonderful, wonderful season so far. We started off at Zolder, we then went to Silverstone, then it was Imola, and we're now in the penultimate round with round 5 coming up next in 2 weeks' time, and that is between Kyalami and Laguna Seca. Tetranomicon saying that they love round Watkins Glen. Shame it doesn't always love me. I feel you on that one more than you will ever know, and it's always because of that damn loop on the inside, that fast right, left, right. It usually catches me out. I usually get a little bit too cocky, take a little bit too much speed, and end up facing backwards into the wall. However, I know Rose here, Sam, a 143.252. And again, it's just, just these incremental gains. You wonder where the sort of limit is for an Noah Rose.
I don't know. I mean, and it's and it's one of the interesting things about watching, then these alien drivers that, and how fast can they go? You just you just never know until qualifying's done. Currently, by 0.3 of a second then ahead of Mia, and yeah, it's just fantastic to see such consistency. As I was saying earlier for Minora, just shaving time lap after lap. It's just absolutely fantastic. But no doubt Mia and Alexa definitely looking to try and eat into that lead just a little bit as we head on board with Penelope Dobbins, currently 1.1 back, and currently sitting quite nicely in P5.
And did a grand job with that as well. And that's the other thing that we always say is that, we see all the gaps between the drivers and the, you get the insanely fast times at the top 5 or whatever. But all through the rest of the grids, there are, these insane little battles that are going on between these drivers on their own skill level, on their own ability, on their own pace, and they are just as important. And they fight for these races just as important as if it was for the top 5, because at the end of the day, one of the things that we want to promote here is this close pack racing, this close, intense racing, no matter where you are through the field.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I love about the MFR format is the fact that if there is a driver that's either too quick or not quick enough for the class that they're in, that there is then the potential for that to be reclassed mid-season, as we've seen with Penelope, to make sure that everybody has somebody to fight with. There's nothing worse being in a championship where you've got nobody to race with on track because there's just too much gap. There are tight battles.
Sam.
Sorry.
I was just seeing there that Mia Rose chipping away at their own time as well now, 143.455, bringing that gap down even further now. Just under two minutes left to go in the qualifying session here. So as it stands then, you've got Anora Rose then 143.252 in pole position, Mia Rose 143.455, Alexa Gates in that championship contention 143.692, then you've got Sarah Dove in fourth, 143.890, so that is 4 cars that you've got within 7/10 of a second. Then it is to Penelope Dobbins in the debut in the pro class up into P5. That is fantastic stuff for Penelope Dobbins. Then you have got Ruby Acosta in 6th position. Then it's April Carlsbard. 8th place is going to be Amity Pulsatrix, and then Denise Pope and Beata Bachenska round out your top 10. 2.6 seconds separating them just now. But final minute here in qualifying at Watkins Glen, and again it's now just going to be a case of if you've got anything left in the tank, it's now or never, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, it's a case of if you are on a valid lap now, push as hard as you can, because it's the last chance you're going to get to get up then the grid for the first round start.
Well, let's see what we can do. Zach Mosley wanted to give out a shout out to the amazing artists who make these fantastic liveries. Very impressive. Absolutely. It's one of the things that we wax lyrical whenever I've been on with yourself, Sam, or previously with Ash, talking about these liveries, and it feels a little bit, as a commentator, it can feel a little bit superficial, talking about how beautiful the cars can look, but they do look absolutely stunning, and there's so much work goes into the design, into perfecting these liveries and making them look good, because quite a lot of these female racers have got actual brands and companies actually sponsoring them.
Yeah, Yeah, and coming from someone who has attempted to create liveries, myself, I know how much work and effort goes into creating these liveries. It's not easy to do at all. These are three-dimensional graphics that, when you put them together, the map that you've got to lay everything out does not look like a car in any way, shape, or form. It is really, really hyper confusing to try and figure out what to put where. I've got nothing but respect for the people who do these amazing liveries. We've got a couple of teams in here that that's their job is creating liveries. So it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Denise Pope is one of them that does a lot of deliveries and does an absolutely grand job. So that's the first name that jumps out to mind. But Alexa Gates here from Brabham Esports coming through the final corner. This is the final car on a fast lap just now, looking very good coming out of that fast corner. Is it going to be an improvement? No, it's not. So Alexa keeps on to that 143.587. It was a very slight improvement, but I know Rose coming across the line with a 143.1, so it is a Rose 1-2 by just 0.2 of a second there. Fascinating stuff there, and so much to write home about and update you. But we're about to go to the grid very shortly, in fact just in a couple of seconds time. But just before we do, any final thoughts ahead of this first race then?
Final thoughts on that qualifying is, fantastic to see both the Roses and up at the top of the grid, as you would expect. I think we're with Mia being so close to Honore, it's going to make for a really, really interesting race. So some very, very, close times on all the way down then the grid, and only 1 second separating our top five. So yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a tight race, and there's going to be a lot of interesting battles all the way up and down the grid.
Well, I couldn't have put that any better myself, so a huge thank you for that one, Sam. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for our first race of the evening, because it's going to be Honore Rose on pole position alongside Mia Rose. Alexa Gates on row 2 is going to be alongside Sarah Dove. Then it is Penelope Dobbins alongside Ruby Acosta. April Carlsvard on row 4 alongside Amity Pulsatrix. Row 5 is going to be Josie Austin and Denise Pope. That is your top 10. 11th place for Skylar Vixen. Beata Bachenska in 12th. Lisa Louise in 13th position with Eris Aphelion in 14th. Natalie Lee in 15th with Martin Edwards in 16th position. Then in 17th position it's Myla Ferla. In 18th position is going to be Catherine Rosie. 19th position is going to be Charlotte Robertson, and Leah Noodle in 20th position, and Truzzoni Integrale in 21st. Carrie Burton making the debut in 22nd position. Welcome to the sim grid to Carrie Burton. So a smaller grid than we've had through the rest of the season, but it gives us more time to focus and concentrate on what is going to be happening. Remember, we have got 2 separate classes out there. You've got Pro and Pro-Am as they make their way down through the starting order. You can see that at the top right of your screen. The cars making their way into turn number 1 just now. So again, a fantastic circuit that they're going to be taking battle on tonight. I was choosing my words very, very carefully there. 3.45 miles here at Watkins Glen International. A track that's seen no shortage of excitement, home to the WeatherTech IMSA Sports Car Series, the Salins 6 Hours of the Glen. We also have NASCAR up here for the Cup Series. I believe the Xfinity Series also races up here as well. But these GT3 cars make it nice and homely around. So they're making their way around on the formation lap. Sam, what do you think going through the drivers' heads at this point?
Well, I mean, when we've recently had the 1.9 update, which is making tire temperatures and tire pressures a lot more important than they ever were before. So if it was me in the car, that's what I would be concentrating on, getting those temperatures up. And pressures and up as well. You've got a sharp 90 degree for turn one. You've got to make sure that you've got the grip to be able to get the car pulled up and turned in. Not very much runoff after turn one, so they've got to make sure that those pressures and temperatures are spot on as they can be.
Well, I dug out the sim rig a couple of weeks ago. I've started getting back into it just very slightly, so I've had a shot at the 1.9 update, and you're absolutely spot on with that. I've not realised how much of a difference that update has made in terms of making it so important, not just to get your tyres up to temperature, but to keep them there as well, keep them in that optimal pressure zone to get the most out of the car, because it can make such a difference to the performance of the car. And also, one of the tricks that they used to do was just running the brakes during that warm-up lap, get a little bit of heat into the tyres now, but again, it doesn't affect the pressure as much as
well.
Exactly. You've got to do that little bit of weaving, and again, you want to be careful, because if you overheat the tyres, if you over exaggerate with your movement and weaving left to right, you take that top layer off, you can really hurt the first layer of that tyre as it starts to warm up here.
Yeah, but it's equally. I mean, this is what and I think Kunos have gotten absolutely spot on of making it really interesting. Is that now you've also, the tire wear model is really quite dramatic. So yes, you've got to weave to get the tires up to temperature, but you can't weave too much, because you don't want to take life out of the tires. Now, thankfully, this is not something that you need to worry about too much with a 20-minute race, but anything a little bit longer, and it's just one more thing that you've got to think about on your formation lap.
Here we go then, round the final corner as we get ready to go live for our first race of the evening. It's the Roses at the front, Anor leading Mia across the line, but Alexa Gates is going to be looking eagerly to try and get the jump on the pair of them. The green flag flies here at Watkins Glen. We've almost got a car further back into the wall there. It's side by side. There goes Alexa Gates looking up the inside, leaves it to the brakes though, but up into P2, and it's a good clean start from everyone there. That looks like it's going to be Mia Rose trying to hold on round the outside, but it looks like Alexa Gates has firmly got that second position there from the two of them. They come up through this back stretch then as Alexa Gates tries to get the run. A little bit of a weave from left to right. There's an incident involving your championship leader for AM, Lisa Louise. We'll get more of an update on that as they try to go side by side. A little bit of contact from Mia onto the back bumper there of Alexa Gates, but they're all through there. You've got a car off in the left hand side there, and I'm hoping that is not your championship leader there. But as it stands then, a wild and wacky start to this race here, Sam, and they're all still very prim and proper coming down towards the toe.
They are, yeah, and Mia all over the back of Alexa Gates' car there, just trying to get back up into position to slot in behind Honore. And a fantastic start for the most part, really nice and clean. Didn't see too many dramatic incidences further back, so and everyone's just got to kind of settle down, get into the rhythm, and see what they can do in the next 28 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've got to see here. 30 minutes in this first race, and oh my goodness me, all the excitement already going on here. We've got another incident, Charlotte Robertson involved in an incident with Natalie Lee in there as well as the fastest laps come in. Of course, you've got to take a little bit of grain of salt with that. Myla Ferla getting caught up with Natalie Lee now as well. But that first lap done and dusted, and this is what I fear, is the fact that Honor Rose, if Honor gets away on that first lap and is not challenged, usually that is good night.
Yeah.
However, we have seen it where I know it does come under a little bit of pressure, but we'll wait and see here because we've still got a cracking battle potentially on the cards now.
Yeah, I mean, she's already built up about half a second of a gap already. And Mia just dropping back a little bit, at 1.2 back from the leaders. So, and Nora can kind of, just concentrate on her own race for the minute and just allow the drivers behind her to battle away.
100%. Loving what I'm seeing so far here in the first race tonight here for Season 6 of More Female Racers powered by Mercedes-AMG. We are on round 5 of 6 here at Watkins Glen, and what a race we have got in store for you. I know Rose, your championship leader for Pro, all the way out there in the front, but again we have to check back then to our AM battle and find out what on earth happened to Lisa Louise, currently down in P14 overall, but I wonder if that was just maybe a warning for potential contact that may have happened there. Still in a reasonable position for the points, but again we'll double check there. Fastest lap there for Honora Rose, 1:43.9 during the race. That is very, very impressive indeed, as you're seeing the gaggle of cars here from about 6th position all the way downwards. Sam, your thoughts on the first couple of minutes of this race then?
Pretty much as we expect, and Honora Rose, getting a really, really fantastic start. So it's something that she is, really, really skilled at, is being able to build that gap really, really early on, just to relieve the pressure off. But really, really fantastic start from everybody down the grid. So some, really spicy battles starting to form already, as we're seeing then this battle on board with Skylar Vixen, only 5 tenths back from Eris Affilian, up in just ahead in P12.
Yeah, Eris, we really have to give a big shout out because they've been doing a fantastic job through this season, and really, really impressed by the consistency that Eris has shown throughout the season. So yeah, hats off to Eris. Really think they should be quite proud of the season that they've had so far. Maybe not being consistently in the top 10, but certainly being some high scoring points for their position. Let's have a look at what happened then earlier on. This is going into turn 1. You've got a car off on the right hand side there. Looks all very prim and proper indeed, and that's going a little bit wide. That is one of the Quadra cars here, so still trying to see what we're looking at here through the left-hander. A little bit of contact. So that's what the contact warning was that we got earlier on. So that thankfully that's our alert system being triggered, but really not all that much to write home about, especially since Eris Affilian then just sending it up the inside and getting that position there. So yeah, I'll breathe a sigh of relief on that one.
Yeah, as that move started to develop, I did kind of, take a little bit of a breath in, but yeah, very, very nicely done. Just a little bit of rubbing down the side of those two cars. Then a little bit of damage to the paintwork, but nothing more than that. And as I can't remember who originally coined the phrase, but rubbing's racing.
It certainly is. I first heard that phrase on the film Days of Thunder, back in the late 80s. Starting to show my age now.
You are right. Yes. Now that you've said that, that is exactly where that phrase comes from. Yep. Yes, definitely.
He didn't bump you. He didn't nudge you. He rubbed you. And rubbing, son, is racing. That's. I believe that is a sign of how many times I've watched that damn film. I absolutely love it. Oh my lord, that is a wild crash for the number 19 car of Natalie Lee. And again, I mean, that's a completely unintended incident there, but just shows you. And I did say, I love it. I think this is the second time I've been right about something this season. I did warn about that corner, and how easy it is to get a little bit too greedy with the throttle coming out of that left-hander there, and that's exactly what happened. However, let's have a look at this, because Mia Rose was dropping off the back of Alexa Gates, and yeah, not so much now. The tires started to come alive for Mia Rose, picking up where they left off, and probably eager to try and take that second place back there. Jigs out to the left-hand side there. The Brabham Esports car gently has to pull over, try and block that move off there through the right, left, right section then of the inner loop of Watkins Glen. But can't quite do it, and you see just how much time that Mia Rose backs off there. But again, I would imagine will immediately bring that time back in.
Yeah, but the two of these fighting is allowing an Nora Rose to get even more of a gap, 1.3 seconds now. The gap between these two cars and Honore up front. I noticed that we had a question in the YouTube regarding the drive-through. So the drive-through was for car 939 for speeding at the start, and 939 sadly is Erisafilian. So they have a drive-through penalty that is going to be coming. Now they're not going to be pitting in a race this short, so the drive-through time will probably be added on to their final time at the end.
Ouch, that is the word I'm going to use today. Ouch on that one. Denise Pope is coming behind Pulsatrix at the moment. The thing with that, and again, we're just having that pointed out from production, is because it's a drive-through, I believe that would have been served by the game, so that will have to be served, and I think they'll have 3 laps in which they've got to do it, so they may already no, they've not jumped into the pits just now, but yeah, they will have to serve that penalty, because we see it sometimes where they get a penalty for speeding, or they're out of position at start, and sometimes the admins will have to rearrange it and take them away. But if that was automatically generated by the game, then yeah, they will definitely have to serve that, unfortunately, Sam.
Yeah, so a little bit painful. Thankfully that.
Now, an incident involving Mia Rose and Alexa Gates. What has happened there? I wonder. They've not dropped back too far, but I wonder if that's maybe a little bit of paint rubbing going on.
Possibly, and there is now the gap between me and Alexa is now a lot wider than it was. So I think there has been some contact there at some point during that fight for Mia trying to get up into P2. It's now dropped her about a second back from Alexa, and if she's not careful, she'll be under pressure from Sarah Dove.
Yeah, that's right. It dropped them both back into the clutches of Sarah Duff here, so I'm very curious to find out what on earth happened there. Mia Rose is the current fastest lap holder, 143.687. Let's get a replay then, and it sounds like Alexa has lost the tail end of the car under all this pressure here from Mia Rose here, and sends it into the inside, and a little bit of netcode there, just keeps held on to it there. Thankfully, no real contact between the two of them, is there? On the inside of the corner, I think Alexa's going to have this one. Yeah, that is... a little bit of a hip check there from Mia. Well, that's interesting.
Mia loses it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think that was a little bump from Alexa there. And to be fair, I mean, that was some proper ice hockey sportsmanship going on there.
Yeah, but that being said, fair play to both of them being able to keep the car, keep everything collected, still running, not getting collected in the walls. So again, just a testament to how good both of these drivers are. That if it was me and I had that little bit of contact, that's it. I'd be back end into a wall and having to return to garage. So fair play to both of them. Both still running, just a little bit of time lost, but no doubt they will look to start getting that time back.
Well, they're going to have to watch out for race control. That's a penalty being given out. That was an incident on lap 1 between cars 11 and 19. That's Charlotte Robertson and Natalie Lee. It's a 10-second time penalty for Natalie Lee for causing a collision there. And I love to pretend that I'm a consummate professional here and as a sim racing commentator, but I'm an absolute peasant. I just watch stuff like that. I'm like, yes, go on, hit them, go on. You can't help it. You feel like you're watching a gladiator battle and you're baying for blood at which point. I know there's going to be a good amount of people in chat and thinking there. Now, elbows out very much there. Is that Cosmo Marsh? I think that might be Cosmo that we saw earlier on. Have we seen Cosmo Marsh this season? I think it was last season that we saw Cosmo, wasn't it?
Yeah. No. Cosmo has been in the series this year. Was with us for round 1 and round 3. Missed round 2.
You're absolutely right, Sam.
As well.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on because Cosmo's in the entry list as well on number 2. Amazing female racer in our iRacing League from BC Gaming, Jennifer McDonald, aka JMac. I love that. I love when you get the street names coming out for all these drivers. It's brilliant. So Lisa is currently AM leader in the race so far, and also your AM leader in the championship. So 9 seconds. How the hell has that happened? That is, I mean, that is domination. And the scary thing about that is that's the sort of performance that gets the championship coordinators their eye over you, going, do we need to move this car into pro? And that would be a bummer at this end of the season.
Yeah, I don't think they will look to change Lisa at this later stage, but doing very, very well in P12 overall, P1 in class, and just looking a little bit further down the order to see where her championship rivals are. And Mia LaFerla currently P17, Eris Aphelion in front, but Eris does obviously have that drive-through penalty to serve at some point. I don't believe that has been served as of yet. So something to keep an eye on as to whether then the positions between Eris and Maya switch at some point, because all is going to determine then the outcome of the championship, with the points between those three being so close, literally the 1 point separating each of them.
I mean, given that we're at the business end of the championship now, we're on to the penultimate rounds here. The thing with it is that this is going to be a pivotal night. Maybe not so much for the AM Championship, because you've got a lot of points on offer over the remaining races. Certainly for the Pro, I think there's a good chance now that Honora Rose can put it beyond doubt. Maybe, again, not mathematically, but then you have to ask yourself, given the domination that Honora Rose has had through this season, it makes it unrealistic that it's going to be anything else. As we cut to a replay then, this is of Denise Pope, and I believe, is that Josie Austin in one of the cake cars just in front, and that is not how you take the inner loop, and that is why I absolutely detest this layout of the circuit. Yeah, that's not my friend, and from looks of it, neither is it Denise Pope's.
No, but just quickly going back on our AM Championship battle, I believe that I just happened to catch a glimpse of the pit icon on Eris and Aphelia's name in the standings. So I believe Eris has now served that drive-through and is ahead of Maya LaFerla actually on track. So very, very interesting to keep an eye on. No doubt Maya LaFerla is going to be trying to close up that gap to Eris as quickly as they can, because this is going to be determining championship positions coming out of this race.
Yeah, huge implications on the championship coming out of this one. They've still got 13 minutes left to go here in this first race of the evening. Alexa Gates, though, 6 seconds behind Honor Rose, and here comes Mia Rose having a little look, dropping the pair of them. It's Sarah Dove now 1.45 seconds behind them here, coming up towards the tail end of the circuit here. And again, that Brabham Esports driver of Alexa Gates under so much pressure right now from Mia Rose. Little look to the inside there, not going to happen here on this left-hander, but it's all going to be about this run down to turn 1 then. Great run in from Mia Rose as well. Gets that excellent final corner done. And this is going to be very scary indeed, because you get the impression that it could be a big moment, but Mia Rose actually thinks better of it here, possibly trying to make push Alexa Gates into making a mistake here.
Possibly, but I have just spied in the penalties Discord that Alexa Gates has a penalty coming for the collision with Mia early on, and there we go, 5-second time penalty to car 35 for causing a collision. So now that really throws everything amongst the pigeons, and yeah, now we see what happens.
Now, what happened there with Mia Rose and Alexa Gates there? I think that Mia tried to go for a move that was never going to happen there, and ended up sending themselves off into the off-track area there. So Mia Rose now dropping behind Sarah Dove, and the question is, how much time have they lost there? Because that would be unreal to think that that 5 seconds could have been done there. Now Mia's going to have to undo the damage, get past Sarah Dove, as Carrie Burton had a drive-through as well in that 7.57. So, oh man, that's you hate to see it, but nonetheless, as you said, a fantastic race that we've had so far here. This is Ruby Acosta onto the tail end of Penelope Dobbins, and well, what a race that Penelope has had on the debut into Pro, moving up from AM already up in the P5, mixing it with the best of them. And awesome to see. Great shout out to Zlichi on YouTube there with a fantastic comment there, saying that first time watching here for friend Charlotte Robertson. Amazing woman and friend. Shout out to all of these amazing female racers. This is awesome. 100% agree with that one, Sam.
Completely and totally. Yeah. I mean, Honora Rose, she is checked out at the front of the race. Currently 4.8 seconds clear at the front with 10 minutes left. But yeah, I mean, Mia Rose definitely throwing some interest and spice into the race. Don't know if it was contact that sent her off. It looks like we're going to get a replay of what happened here. Just looks like she just missed a braking point just a little bit, and to avoid contact with the car in front, opted to go wide and at the corner, possibly the lesser of two evils. Quite possible that was the moment that the penalty showed on the in-car displays. Might have just distracted her just momentarily, seeing that penalty come up for Alexa Gates. But at the minute, that gap not enough, so Alexa Gates will lose out to Mia. Currently, I think that penalty will put her down into P4 currently, I think, promoting Sarah Dove up to P2 and Mia up to P3.
What a result that's going to be, and Mia Dove going to be pushing that button to make sure that car is now 3-4 times as wide as it normally is on stock, making sure that Mia Rose stays behind that car. We cut back down though further through the order here. This is the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th position here. Brilliant little fight that you can see here. You've got the number 59 car of Anate Pulsatrix in the middle of this sandwich here. Josie Austin up there in the 137 for Team Cake, And just behind is Beta Buchenska for Hot and Spicy Racing here. It looks like, though, that Amate Polsichek has got the run on Josie Austin there. They're going to go side by side up the back straight here. Gets the inside line. We've got an incident between involving car number 3. That's Trezzoni into Grali here, into the inner loop there, and just holds on to it. Josie Austin, that was a great defence there, and held on to that position.
Yeah, good driving from the both of them. Amity, showing real class, knowing when to back out and not, push it in too much. So sometimes it's a difficult thing to learn, as we see. I believe that's Mia Rose trying to get the job done on Penelope Dobbins, but goes just a little bit wide, and Penelope has the cutback. Yeah, and. Oh, Penelope doing an excellent job trying to get that position. Brilliantly done. Excellent racing from the both of them.
But wait, how's that happened, Sam? Because just a lap ago, it was Sarah Dove that was fighting for this position. So now Mia Rose has dropped even further back, and it's now fighting for 5th position here. This is absolutely nuts. So I'm really not sure what has happened, because Sarah Dove now 2 seconds to the good on Mia Rose here. I wonder, maybe has that car got some sort of damage? Was there another issue? But yeah, Mia Rose definitely falling further and further down the order here, and this is going to get very dangerous, because again, you're now talking about podium positions here, as Alexa Gates has that 5-second penalty here. Oh, and that is Sarah Dove. Well, that is not the best. Looks like that's going to be coming out of the just after the inner loop. That's Ruby Acosta. Has there been like an earthquake or something happen here? Because we've got cars going off left, right, and centre. Sarah Dove just went off there as well. This is back with Amate Polsichek still trying to take this 8th position here from Josie Austin right now. That puts Mia Rose back up to P3 and demotes Sarah Dove all the way down to P4 now. So Penelope Dobbins then into P5. And this is a very, very strange turn of events. Right, let's have a look at this replay here from our 3rd place car of Sarah Dove. You get the feeling that Mia Rose might be involved in this. Oh, that's poor. I'm sorry, that is absolutely unacceptable. You cannot drive into the car. To be fair, though, to Mia, it did stop the car very briefly, but nah. Nah.
But didn't wait. No, that's... Yeah. Not really a whole lot we can say to that. Yeah. Let's move on.
Realistically, I don't think that's going to make any difference. I think the pair of them are still going to keep the podium, because they're now 9 seconds ahead as Ruby Acosta. Wow, that's so unfortunate. That is what happens with that loop, and this is why I hate this layout at the track, because the curbs are just brutal on this thing right now. But as I said, I think Alexa and Mia are somehow going to hold on to this podium right now.
Yeah, I mean, and it'd be interesting to keep an eye on the times and see how they end up panning out towards the end. We've got 4.5 minutes left. As we can, as we've seen before, so much can happen within the span of 4 minutes. And interestingly, the fact that we're starting to see a little bit more cars moving around, so a couple of more incidences, a bit more contact. This is roughly where tires start to fall off in this new update. With the tire wear models, certainly something that I've found is that you have this period, about kind of the half-hour mark, where your tires just suddenly drop away and then they start to come back again. I'm wondering if that's what we're starting to see, is that with all of the close battling that we saw early on in the race, that some people have just eaten into their tires just a little bit too much to begin with, and people are potentially struggling with that drop off. But just coming on board with Kerry Burton, and for first race out with more female racers, being P21, very very respectable, and has a car behind. So absolutely fantastic. Great to see that they're still running, and from the looks of it, they've had a very clean race. There doesn't appear to be any damage on that car at all. So knowing from my first experience of first races out, finishing a race, finishing on track, and finishing with no damage, perfect.
Yeah, that's
great job done.
Brilliant debut there from our brand new driver, Carrie Burton, in the 757, as you said. And listen, any finish in more female racers is a great result, but to do that on your first one and relatively out of the trouble is a remarkable job. So well done there for Carrie on this one. Josie Austin, I'll be honest, I'm not going to look at Josie in the same way again. Josie, whenever we've spoken, has been very softly spoken, come across as very gentle, quite a happy, bubbly person. I am never, ever getting on Josie's bad side, ever again, after what I just saw there. Amity Pulsatrix, we saw that 2 laps ago, tried to come through on the overlap on the bus stop, and Josie Austin just absolutely slammed that door shut right in the face of Amity Pulsatrix and said no chance. And they must have been going at about 80-90 miles an hour on the entry into that corner there. Fantastic effort from all the drivers, and we've only got a minute and a half left here.
I know. Where is this race gone? And just think, we've got this all to do again.
I'm trying to take a deep breath at the thought of that one. I'm going to need to lie down in between both these races here. Good Lord Almighty. Right, we still don't have anything. We do have an update. Right, so we've got a penalty instant between the 83 and 87. That's Penelope Dobbins and Trezoni Integrali. That is a penalty for the 87 for causing a collision, a 10-second penalty. So that amazing debut in Pro slightly tainted by that penalty, going to drop them down a little bit, but we've got 45 seconds. This is going to be the final lap of the race here, as we're watching Martin Edwards with Anor Rose. Sorry, this is going to be the penultimate lap of the race, because we'll get one more with Anor coming through the penultimate corner here. 12 seconds ahead of Alexa Gates. What do we even say to that?
Yeah. And interestingly, as we came on board with Anora, coming into just coming out of turn 10, taking the run down to turn 11, she's not holding back. Still taking miles and miles of track, still pushing, and that's what I absolutely love to see. Just because she's 10-14 seconds up the road, she's not lifting off. Still giving it absolutely full beans all the way through. And just fantastic that they're just pushing constantly, as you can see, taking all the curb going through then the inner loop there,
awesome stuff to say. Just a final couple of corners, then down on the run, down that sweeping left-hander here at Watkins Glen, through the chute into the entry to the toe, as you've got a car stopped on the inside there. You've got another car waiting to get a lap put on. Then it's up to the heel for the final time, but it's been an exhibition drive here for Anor Rose, as we've seen so many times through the season so far. That 956 making its way round, another car just getting out its way. I think that might have been Beta Bachenska there. Rounds that left-hander though, with just 3 corners left to go. Anor Rose comes round the left-hander. It's been a dominant display, as we've seen so many times this season here for More Female Racers Season 6. Out the final corner, Anor Rose comes across the line to win in dominant fashion, 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the field here.
Yeah, and I think the penalty on Alexa Gates, I do think Mia Rose and Alexa Gates are going to swap positions once that penalty is applied, but I do think that they are both going to hold on to those last two.
It's not, Sam, because Alexa got a 5-second penalty and Mia Rose has just been hit with a 10-second penalty to the 909 for causing a collision with the 177. That is, so the 177, that is Sarah Dove.
Bell. Wow. And that's just thrown. That is just thrown everything up. But as we head on board with Lisa Louise, who is going to be taking the AM Class win. So absolutely fantastic result from here, coming through in P12 overall.
Yeah, some big, important AM championship points there for Lisa Louise, as you rightly pointed out. That is going to be huge coming into this final race of the evening. But with the penultimate round here is Eris Aphelion. It's been a war of attrition for them today. Third place in AM just now, but again, some important points here. And I get the feeling that a lot of these drivers are going to have a lot to say in between these races here tonight, Sam. Great race and great result for Eris there, though.
Yeah. But, very, very key for Eris is that they did finish ahead of Maya Laferla. So, slight possible change of position coming in the AM Championship, heading into the next round. But we still have another race that's going to contribute to all of that. But wow, 10-second penalty coming in at the bell to change everything. That
you honestly couldn't script that level of drama.
No.
Just so enjoyable as well, and this is what I miss about more female racers. And I'm so glad that you and Ash get to enjoy what is really just an awesome amount of action and drama and chaos all happening throughout the season. This is what I love about this championship, and my God, do they put on a good show, Sam.
They do, and it means that by the end of the 2-hour stream, I generally don't have a voice left. There is just so much going on up and down the grid. It's a challenge for Ash and I to just keep up with all of the action.
It certainly is. So there you go. That is our first race of the evening done and dusted. We are just moments away from getting our second race on the go. That should be on the go within the next couple of minutes. And again, with that being another 30-minute race now, I think the battle lines have firmly been drawn here, Sam. We now know what drivers are likely to be together out there on track, but also the drivers are going to know who they can play nicely with and who they're maybe going to not give any inch.
Yeah, I mean, when we have seen this time and time again through not only this season, but past seasons as well, the second race of the evening always ends up being just that little bit spicier. Claws come out just a little bit more. So, with all the action that we had in the first race for the evening, strap in, because I think it's going to get even crazier for this second race that's coming up.
For sure. Buckle up, kiddos, because we're about to say bye-bye to Kansas tonight here at Watkins Glen for the second race of two. It's the penultimate round of More Female Racers Season 6 here, and what a race we have got in store for you. That first race was an absolute top-drawer banger in every sense of the word, and we've got more to come. A reminder, head over to you're obviously on the YouTube page, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to us. Head over and go and vote for the next track for the final rounds, Kyalami versus Laguna Seca, and at the moment I can tell you that it is Kyalami winning quite handsomely, 61% to 39%, and I do not approve of that. I'm very triggered at that, Sam.
I wholeheartedly approve. Absolutely love Kyalami. Fantastic track.
Kyalami's one of those circuits that I've not driven enough to gel with properly. It's a great track. As a commentator, I really enjoy it because you always get some hijinks and chaos, especially around at Bry or Barbecue Corner. There's lots of action to have, but as a driver, yeah, my heart is with Laguna Seca.
No, yeah, they definitely loving Kyalami, both to drive and commentate. And as you said, there's some epic locations around that track that you always know something is going to kick off. And for me, it's always watching at Cheetah. Anybody getting brave on that inside sausage curb, everybody's seeing just how close they can get to it to keep as much speed going into that final corner. And it's always a game of Russian roulette with that curb. And for me, that's the interesting thing to watch is how drivers react to that. So definitely looking forward to that coming up in 2 weeks' time if the vote stays tracking the way it does.
That's if they all survive tonight. Goodness me, the way they've been going. I don't know if we're going to have any drivers left, but loads of talking points out of that first race. Let's talk about the fight between Alexa Gates and Mia Rose, because that got very spicy at times, and I wonder if that will be more than likely just picking off where that left off, but also that fight we saw between Josie Austin and Amate Pulsatrix.
Yeah, I mean, the battle between Alexa Gates and Mia Rose, I'm not sure whether an Alexa has raced with Mia before. Obviously, when we've seen Mia loads of times in previous seasons of MFR, but this is Alexa's first time out in MFR this season. So I wonder if a little bit of that particular race was getting to know each other on track, and seeing just how when everybody drives, everybody has their own driving style. Even in the practice servers that are available for the drivers in between rounds, you can get a sense of somebody's time and how quick they are and how skilled they are at lapping. But it isn't until you get wheel to wheel contact, aggression, that you really get to know what a driver is like to be with on track. And I'm just wondering if that was a little bit of what was playing out there between Alexa and Mia. If it is, then I think it's going to ramp up even more for round two, because it's going to be some scores to settle.
Fingers crossed that is exactly what we are going to have. The cars are just connecting, getting themselves all sorted out ahead of our second race of the evening here at Watkins Glen. We can see them on our little timing screen just pootling about. That is the technical term I'm going to be using for that tonight. They're just out having a little Sunday drive. They're just having a little jaunt there. We can see there actually on this VT package here, on the left-hand side of the track there, the amount of rubber that gets displaced through the course of the races here, that makes overtaking very difficult here, because once you get onto that dirty line then, Sam, you tend to lose an awful lot of traction, you tend to lose an awful lot of braking ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's one of the other things that has come out of the 1.9 update is that the cars are even more sensitive to that now, with the new tire wear model, temperatures, pressures, all of that being so much more impact on how the car feels and how it drives and how it behaves. Drivers have still only had just under 3 weeks with the new update to get their heads around all of the changes, and it is a lot of changes. The cars do feel very, very different. So yeah, it's definitely making for some interesting racing, both in the cockpit and here in the commentary box. It just gives so much more color and interest to what's going on track.
I've got to admit, part of me always loves dropping into the little chat channel for more female racers, spying on all of the drama and all the chaos going on in between rounds, and it's it's the usual case, isn't it? It's a lot of apologies going on, a lot of praise, and to be honest, Sam, I imagine that's a very, very firm but friendly atmosphere to kind of bring yourself in.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I absolutely loved doing my season with MFR is that, yes, on track, then the battling is fierce, it's competitive, nobody's going to give an inch, but as soon as you come off track, in the Discord, in the practice servers, everybody is just so supportive, so welcoming, and it's just such a really, really great, healthy, supportive environment to be in, whether you're a novice or a pro. It's a fantastic community to be a part of.
Certainly is. So if you do fancy getting yourself in on this, get involved for Season 7. I've got absolutely no doubt whatsoever that will be happening. But the driver's on the grid then for Race 2, and it's Honor Rose on pole position with Alexa Gates in second place, Mia Rose in third with Sarah Dove in fourth position. Row 3 is going to be Ruby Acosta in fifth with April Carlsvard in sixth position. It's Penelope Dobbins in seventh with Josie Austin in eighth position. Beata Bachenska in ninth with Skylar Vixen in 10th position. That is your top 10. Then on row 6 is going to be Denise Pope in 11th. 12th place is going to be Lisa Louise, your AM Championship leader. Martin Edwards in 13th position. Eris Aphelion in 14th position with Catherine Rosie in 15th alongside Maya LaFerla in 16th position. It's Leah Noodle in 17th alongside Charlotte Robertson. Then in 19th position, Carrie Burton on her debut at the Sim Grid for Race 2. Trattori Integral in 20th position. Natalie Lee at the back of the grid. Race 2 then, the cars making their way round, and again, this is, as you were mentioned during Race 1, this is the important time for the drivers here, Sam. Getting the brakes warmed up, getting the tyres warmed up, getting their brain warmed up as well, getting ready for that start.
Yeah, I mean, having this 2 rounds, 2 race per round format, and I think it presents a unique challenge to drivers that in that first race, good or bad, you've almost got to, just draw a line in the sand and say, okay, that race is done. Trying to switch any emotions off that came out of that race, whether you had a collision, a spin of your own accord, or did fantastically well. You've now got to clear all of that out and start again and get refocused, and that can be difficult. Sim racing is a very, very emotional pastime. You get really, really invested in these races. Having 2 races per round just adds an interesting level of complexity for that second round of just trying to find the level head again for round 2.
Well, as the saltiest person around, I can absolutely confirm every word you've just said there, Sam. You do. It's you have to let it go, and that's exactly what you see in that was why I was bringing up the group chat there, because you get some people having issues and getting things off their chest, but 9 times out of 10 from what I've seen in the group chat, it's literally just saying, please don't do that, and giving a reason why, and that's it. But other than that, it's normally people apologising for what they feel they've done wrong. So it's great to see the self-moderation going on as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's all part of the learning experience. And I've had this conversation with Ash, many times in previous rounds this season, that you only learn to be a racing driver in a race. You can't learn racing just hot lapping in a practice server. This is where you learn, and by the nature of learning, you are going to make mistakes. But this is a safe place to do it, because everybody's in the same boat.
It certainly is. I couldn't have said it any better myself. If you are just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to live coverage of Race 2 here for the penultimate round of more female racers. It's Honor Rose and Alexa Gates lining up toe-to-toe at the start of Watkins Glen, round the final corner as we get ready to go live. A little bit of weaving to get heat into the tyres from Alexa Gates there. You can see Mia Rose demoted down to that second position, but the cars line up 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 along the start finish gantry here at Watkins Glen as we get ready to hit the loud pedal and go green flag racing for the final time tonight. And what a start for Alexa Gates, straight into the lead of the race. And we've got chaos and carnage that's off, and we've got 2 cars off there, 3 cars off, 5 cars off, and that is a lot of the AM drivers that have been involved in that. You've got Josie Austin in that, Beata Bachenska. Wow, what a start to the race, but we move on because what a start and a half for Alexa Gates right there, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, I mean, and I never thought I would say this. I think Alexa Gates has caught Honor Rose napping on the start, and I never ever thought I would say that in a race.
I've said that time and time again. If you are ever going to get the jump on Honor Rose, it's that lap one. You have to get it done on that lap one there, and that's exactly what's happened. We've got a car going off on the inside of the loop there as well. That is Charlotte Robertson, and that is a very poorly looking Mercedes-AMG. And that is going to be big damage onto the front end of that. But we keep going. The race carries on because Alexa Gates still in the lead of this race here. This is a tantalising prospect going on. We've seen the pace of Honor Rose, but we've never seen Honor being backed into Mia before. What on earth is going to happen here, Sam? I am absolute tenor hooked for this one because this has got an explosive potential right now.
It does, yeah, and you know, and Honor Rose, you know, not in this position very frequently, of needing to reclaim the first place. So she's going to be keen to get that move done as quickly as possible, to get back into back into that P1 position. But Mia. Only 0.4 of a second back, and Alexa 0.3 of a second ahead. So that definitely said some tight racing, and then they are starting to pull a little bit of a gap. Although it looks like that's sadly Lisa Louise having.
Yeah, that's Lisa Louise that's taken over the position, I believe, from Penelope Dobbins here, duking it out here, unless that's been Penelope Dobbins fighting further up. That's April Carlsbad, excuse me, sorry. So the two of them fighting it out. Lisa Louise, though, avoided that stramash at the start of the race and is in the lead of Arms, is up the inside, tries to go at Penelope Dobbins on the debut in Pro, and what a start they had in that first race there. So she's done really well, has Penelope, onto the back end though on the second race of April Carlsbad. As I mean, there's just so much to kind of keep her eye on here. Alexa Gates still in the lead of the race then by 0.3 of a second ahead of Honor Rose, and you can see that picture here. Carrie Burton, unfortunately, in an incident in that 757. I get the feeling that they may have been involved or caught up in that initial first lap accident here. Wow, what a start to the race. So much action, so much drama, and I'll tell you what, Alexa Gates, fastest car right now, 144.2.
Yeah. Just looking down further down the order, you mentioned Carrie Burton. I wanted to have a look to see if she managed to get through that lap one carnage, and I think she has, because she is up into P15. So it looks like it was managed to get through that lap one turn one pile up, but has now just lost a place to Leah Nuttall. So currently in P16, but really great result for her to see her way through the mess.
Wow, I'm still struggling to get my breath back after that amazing opening section of the race here. But look at Honor Rose putting Alexa Gates under so much pressure, trying to go around the outside of the boot here, of the toe section of the circuit. Not going to happen as they make their way up towards the boot here. 144.255 is the fastest lap so far, but given that Honor Rose was doing 143.6s all the way through that race here, it gives you an idea of just how much pace there is left in the tap here. And Alexa Gate just soaking up all that pressure like a sponge. Your AM leader, meanwhile, Lisa Louise still in the lead of the AM Championship, and a little bit of a flash of lights. And Sam, what's your thoughts on drivers behind flashing, as we see incident between Skylar Fix and Denise Pope there? Yeah, drivers flashing their lights. I absolutely detest it.
I know a lot of drivers do detest it, and I think as far as driver etiquette goes, it's something that you really shouldn't be doing unless you are notifying a blue flag that you're coming up to them, and on pace. Using it as a tactic to try and put a driver off to make position. As far as driver etiquette goes, yeah, it's not really something that you should be doing. Me personally, it doesn't bother me because, well, you're behind me. You can flash as much as you want. So I take a very different view to it than a lot of drivers do. Doesn't really faze me because, well, I don't really look behind me that much. Yeah, good thing or bad thing. Ruby Acosta, unfortunately, facing the wrong way coming out of inner loop, and I know exactly what you're going to say. Inner loop strikes again.
I'm saying nothing on that one. That's absolutely fine. I think that was Charlotte Robertson that was caught up in that as well. I'm sure saw Charlotte stopped. That was on the inside of the loop there, but big damage to the car of April Carlsvard. Sorry, that it was there, and
that's not looking happy.
It's a big punt that's on the front of that car there. It's not looking very good, as you said, but I tell you what, I'm liking the pace from Alexa Gates right now, doing everything they need to do to keep that car in front, and Mia really hounding and harassing that car. Honor harassing that car, but Mia harassing as well. Are we going to see a fight for second place here, Sam?
Yeah, I think that then Alexa not lapping as fast as Honora is used to lapping. So I do think that this podium fight is going to continue for quite a number of laps. As long as Alexa keeps her head calm, positions that car well. We know that overtaking is an interesting challenge around here. It's not impossible, but you've got to be brave. As we're just seeing Charlotte Roberts just catching a little bit too much of the curb, and adding a few more corners into the inner loop than what was originally designed, and seeing a similar response from Rubo Acosta.
Yeah, that was a round and around and around the corner for Ruby Acosta there. Somehow making a chicane into a 4-point turn, but nonetheless, that was a heavy hit into that barrier on the right-hand side there, so I'd be surprised if there's not any damage on the back of that car. However, 10 minutes into this race, and again, while everything is all kicking off behind them, Lisa Louise is up into P7 overall and still in a great lead of the AM Championship. This is what happened to April Carlsvard there. What? That's a very strange accident there. Rear wheels catching the grass on the right hand side there and just launch into the curb.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there was potentially a little bit of netcode involved in that, because that was extremely sudden, and not quite how I would expect a car to behave, even with getting a little bit of a wheel on the grass. Very, very odd.
We're watching the race leader then, Alexa Gates, fighting on for this race lead here with Honor Rose, who jumps out to the left-hand side there, late onto the bikes there, tries to cut through again. Can't quite happen as Alexa Gates goes off the track a little bit there, holds on to it. What a sterling defence job here from Alexa, Sam, and really happy. Oh, that's a big moment for Honor Rose, pushing a little bit too hard now, and this is where it all starts to unravel. We've seen this before in previous seasons. The frustration starts to kick in and the overdriving of the car here. This is where it all could come down.
It does, yeah, and Nora just needs to keep a level head and, you know, wait for the move to develop. You know, and Alexa already has proven that she can handle the pressure. So Nora just needs to be patient and, you know, would just wait for the right opportunity to pounce.
And halfway through the circuit, in fact, sorry, yeah, that was the 939 of Eris Aphelion, excuse me, not Natalie Lee. We saw it popping up about Natalie Lee having an accident, but yep, that was Eris Aphelion having a moment there. Down into turn one then, again, as we're on 6 laps now here of Watkins Glen, and what is going to happen is through this section here, this first section where we go into the inner loop, where, you know, Honor able to make a lot of time here, but again Alexa just coming up the hill, the lights flashing. Honor wants that position, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. What's going to happen this time round?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the sector times, it does seem to be that then sector 1 is the biggest difference between them. Alexa Gates just being about 3/10 slower through that section than Honora, but relatively even through the rest of it.
Oh, that was an awkward collision between Natalie Lee there and Eris Aphelion. Natalie having her own accident, and Eris, they were very unfortunate to get caught up in that, and big damage for, I think, Eris Aphelion coming out the worst of that, colliding with Natalie Lee, and also then straight into the barrier as well. Didn't look like to be much cause there. It looked like a bit of a racing incident, as here we get eyes on our AM leader then, our AM championship leader, doing everything that she needed to do from tonight then. Lisa Louise coming up to the halfway point then in the lead of that, and doing a grand job of holding on some big points. This is what matters, because as we see, that is the number 3 car then, recovering of, let's see who that is, just coming out of that corner. Is that Integrale that's just trying to rejoin onto the track there? So yeah, they've really not had any luck in this race at all.
Yeah, you know, it's a difficult track, and one that you know, you either have get on with or you don't, and it seems to be one of those tracks that it either suits your driving style or is very hard work, and I think Trezoni Integrale just finding this track a little bit difficult this evening.
Watching the lights flashing from Honor Rose. BC Gaming saying needs to cue up some dance music for when Rose starts the flashing. I'm sure that's going to be the last thing that is going through the minds of that car as the lights are flashing again. You do have to say, I mean, I get that the car's there, but it does start to take the mick a little bit at some point.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
But again, I wonder, Sam, if this says more about Honor at this point than it does about Alexa's. The lights flash again. It is definitely trying to distract, but I mean, if you've got to rely on that, I wonder, you know, how much does Honor want this race win right now?
Clearly, you know, she really wants the win. You know, is it going to make a dramatic difference to the overall standings? Probably not, but it, you know, possibly in the back of her mind is thinking, okay, clean sweep of the season, maybe. You know, so it certainly, you know, would be on my mind in Honora's position. So, you know, clearly she wants then the race win, but it is a case of is the frustration going to get the better of her, and that's something that she's gonna have to be mindful of.
Side by side coming up the back stretch there, and that was in between our brand new entrant there as Alexa keeps it going there. Look at contact there from Honor Rose. Can't quite get it done. Hats off to Alexa. This has been an amazing defence job here as we hit the halfway mark in the penultimate race of the season. And this has just been awesome. I've got to be honest, I feel so afraid. I mean, that was a wild moment there for our brand new to the championship, Carrie Burton. That would have been a scary moment.
Yeah, that very. I mean, obviously she would have been informed by then the heads-up display of letting her know that the leaders were coming through. But unless you're watching then the lap times, you wouldn't be aware of just how quickly they were planning on coming through, and certainly not coming through 3 wide.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, and this is a personal thing, that the flashing from Honor is really getting on my nerves now. It's a really big bugbear of mine. I don't like it. There's no need for it. I get it if it's like a lapped car you're coming across, but if you notice, it's deliberately at the braking zone or just before the braking zone that it does tend to happen. However, it's the SimGrids barbecue, so we'll leave it to them. But what I would say is, in the other races like the World Cup, I know that they do clamp down on that sort of thing, so I'll be very interested to see what happens. However, what I love is the fact that Alexa Guest still just doesn't care. She's like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. You do you, mate. I'm just I'm gonna party here. This is awesome. I love the fact also Alexa Gates has chosen violence in this as the chosen path. It's awesome to see. And I do wonder how often or how long Mia Rose is going to stay behind there. We did have it pointed out that Mia Rose is likely just to act as a rear gunner, but there's no real risk to that because Sarah Dove is 2.8 seconds behind there. And I still think that Honor Rose is getting more and more frustrated. It's up into up into turn 1 there. I thought that was going to be a bit of a dive there by Ruby Acosta onto Beata Bachenska. Thankfully, saner heads prevailed. Right, we're coming up to the business end of things now, and I get the feeling that at least 1 or 2 cars are getting sent into the wall at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you can just feel something building. So something is going to happen. Just past the halfway mark of the final race of the evening, and tempers are possibly rising. What I have noticed is that things have been fairly quiet in the penalties chat until now.
You just had to say that, didn't you?
Well, I was about to say it, and then I saw Mr. Hamlet start doing his thing. So incident between cars 137 and 660. So that is Josie Austin against Skylar Vixen, and it's a 20-second time penalty to 137 for causing a collision on lap 1. So stewards clearly have their hands full. They are still dealing with lap 1 incidents. So.
And we're on lap 10.
And we're on lap 10. So I am going to stress, when this race finishes, these positions are going to be provisional, because I've got a feeling that there are going to be potentially more penalties being doled out post-race.
Oh, this is awesome. This is probably one of the best races I've been able to commentate on this season, as Denise Pope up into P7. Fight out with it, but Carlsbad hold in. Keep the foot in, Denise. There we go, that's fine. Just breathe and get the position back whenever you can. It's fine, don't worry about it. But great to see Denise up into P7. A little bit of a look there from Honor Rose. That was never going to work there, but I now think desperation definitely starting to creep into Honor Rose there. A little bit of wheels on the grass there, goes wide, and that's going to allow Mia Rose almost up the inside there. Not going to happen. Oh yeah, this is definitely definitely starting to get into the realms of desperation and anxiety, I think, here for Noah Rose here, because they're just pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's not happening. And with 10 minutes left to go, you've got to wonder, what else can they do other than going like a wrecking ball?
Yeah, and let's fingers crossed. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. When we want to advocate clean, professional racing on this channel, but yeah, I do get the feeling that something is coming. We're coming into the final 10 minutes, and yeah, there's only so much defending that Alexa is going to be able to manage. And Nora is she's gonna send it at some point.
Clean professional racing, they've got me on the commentary. That's an oxymoron in its highest order right there. But we've got less than 10 minutes left here in the penultimate race of season 6 of More Female Racers. We have been absolutely glued to this battle, and I'm pretty sure that you at home have been absolutely locked onto this battle as well. Alexa Gates now, for 5 laps in a row, has been ahead of excuse me, I'm talking rubbish, because it's been for the entire race here. Alexa Gates, I forgot that it was right at the start that Alexa took the lead from Honor Rose, and this has been an amazing display. Regardless of the finish of this race, Alexa can hold her head up high. This has just been an astounding performance, and this is what More Female Racers is all about, proving that absolutely can stick it to the big dogs in terms of the action on track here. This is just awesome to watch.
It is, yeah, and I'm just taking a look at the difference in sector times, and it is so even, but where Alexa gains in one sector, Honora Rose claws back in another sector. So they are pretty much evens in Sector 2, but in Sector 3, Alexa Gates is just that little bit quicker, and in Sector 1, Honora Rosen is quicker. So I think something is gonna give. It's getting so close.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Honestly, this is just absolutely top drawer stuff. I've now gone from this might be to absolutely hands down, this is one of the greatest races that we have had in More Female Racers over all the seasons that I have commentated on. This is just absolutely intense racing here between Alexa Gates and Honor Rose, side by side still every single lap here, and Honor Rose just absolutely frustrated to every single turn. Alexa putting that car every single place that it needs to be, but a little bit of a look on the outside there, a little bit of a door bang there from Alexa Gates onto Honor Rose, but it's going to be Alexa with the inside line here, and Honor Rose just can't find any way by with 7.5 minutes left. But have a look at this, a new player has entered the challenge. Sarah Duff now, with all this fighting, is getting brought into this mix slowly but surely.
Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen with this fight going on for the entire race. They were eventually going to get backed up into the rest of the pack. But in that run into the final sector there, I was thinking, and Alexa's staying on the dirty side of the track, but positioning the car so well, making it very, very clear right from the get-go all the way down to the corner, that making her intentions perfectly clear that she is taking the inside line, and making an Nora proper hands down have to work for it. 6.5 minutes left to go. So something is gonna tave.
Now, as enjoyable as that is, I did notice something a little bit concerning there from Alexa Gates. It did look like on the entry to the loop there was a little bit of a move, a little bit of a dart to the left-hand side under braking. You're going to have to watch that because the race control will clamp down that like a ton of bricks. Moving under braking is a big no-no in this championship. However, nonetheless, Alexa Gates now with a half-second advantage over Anor Rose. We've got 6 seconds left to go. Sarah Dove now 1.1 seconds behind Mia Rose here, as we've got probably about 3 laps left to go here, and Alexa Gates just starting to eke out. And again, as much as we've been saying about the flashing and the pressure that Anor Rose has been given, hats off, absolutely hats off to Anor Rose for just being able to apply that consistent, relentless, just unabating pressure to Alexa Gates lap after lap after lap. For me, if anything, that shows just the sheer quality of a driver that we've got with Anor Rose. That ability just to consistently, for me, if I was in that position, I would have been causing an accident because of, to follow that closely, you've got to have an insane amount of skill there, Sam.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, very difficult skill to learn, because the process of learning it involves you getting in lots and lots of accidents. Being able to anticipate and almost be a mind reader as to what the car in front of you is actually going to do before they do it. Being able to follow this closely. Yeah, I certainly would have been in an accident, and if I was in Alexa Gates' position, I certainly would have been completely and totally spooked by now. I would be off in the reeds, having missed a breaking point because I'm concentrating too much on what's going on behind me, as opposed to what's in front. So hats off to both drivers. This is an absolute masterclass in attack and defend.
It really, really is, and really enjoyable nonetheless. As back to Lisa Louise is still in the lead of the AM Championship right now, getting very, very good points for that championship, as it were. And again, apologies that we're not spending a lot of time talking about the AM drivers right now. We've just been completely distracted with that incredible battle that is going on at the front of the field. But it is Lisa Louise in the lead of that particular battle right now, and quite handsomely, as both cars going wide in from Anor Rose and Mia Rose, both getting back on there. And I'm wondering now if that is the tyres starting to scream in dismay after all the pressure that has been applied on from both of these cars. But Anor Rose still trying to keep into the hunt here with Alexa Gates. 3 minutes 15 seconds left to go. They go into the loop for another moment here. Sam, we've said it all through this past 10 minutes here, but you just get that gut feeling, don't you? You just get that gut feeling that something is going to happen here.
Yeah, it is exactly just a gut feeling, knowing what it's like to be in the cockpit in a race like this. You're seeing that then the time is ticking down. In the back of your mind, it's like, this is the penultimate round. There's not a whole lot left. Also conscious of, back markers. They're starting to come through traffic now as well. There's just so much going on that it's very, very easy for just a split-second momentary lapse in concentration can literally change anything in the last 2 minutes.
Do you see what I see there, Sam? Do you see the 2 back markers right ahead in the final stages of this race? You could not... Well, to be fair, that's awesome sportsmanship. Great driving there from Charlotte Robertson. Sees that. To be fair, probably sees that and goes, nope, I ain't even touching that with a barge pole. I'm going to bring the car at a stop. You do you. I'm just not having anything to do with it. But who is that up in front?
Exactly.
Is that Sarah Dove that's up in front? I think it might be. No, it's not. Sarah Dove's away behind. That's another one of these similarly liveried cars that's just up in front. Either way, this could get very, very spicy.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, say somebody who is very experienced of being a backmarker, there is no way that I'm going to stick my nose into a fight like this. Compromise your lap by seconds just to not influence in a championship battle like this. And it's fantastic to see the awareness of the back markers not wanting to get involved and let the leaders fight it out on track, which is exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, Catherine Rose, it was there getting right out of the way, but this means now it is a proper straight-on dogfight between Alexa Gates and Nora Rose and Mia Rose here. We're going to have one more lap left to go. We've got 40 seconds on the clock. They're going to cross the line with about 20 seconds left to go here, and it is going to be all eyes on this top three battle, because this is it. The white flag is going to be on, and this is going to be the most sensational finish that we have had here for more female racers, and my god, am I privileged to be part of this, Sam. This is epic stuff. The final lap now. This is the white flag going to fly. Here we go. This is going to be absolutely bonkers.
This is one of those do or die last corner sort of races that it is. I think this is going to come down to the last corner, and I think Honora is possibly have that in mind as well, of just try and get the gap down throughout this lap, and it is going to come down to that last corner, I think.
Well, through the loop then for the final time then, and look at the amount of time that Honora Rose is able to close up onto that car in front of Alexa Gates. The gap now still 0.3 of a second, and that's very, very wide from Honora Rose. Keeps it on the track though, like nothing ever happened there at all. Down through the chutes in towards the toe, and I'm honestly speechless here on the boot section of the circuit. And Honora Rose just drifts that car in a little bit wide and pulls it in. That's been Honora's style through this race so far, on the run down to the boot for the final time, and it does look very, very scintillating for Alexa Gates. Late onto the brakes there goes Honora Rose, trying to cook this car into the final couple of corners, but it's Alexa Gates this round in with 0.4 of a second ahead of Honora Rose. It's been a sensational performance through the entirety of the race, taking the lead through that first corner on the start of the race. It's going to be Alexa Gates into the final corner, and it's going to be a 0.9 of a second gap. Alexa Gates it is that wins race number 2 here, and Honora Rose, the streak is broken. Mia Rose in third place, Sarah Dove in fourth. Sam, my god, what have we just witnessed?
That was an absolutely epic race. This is one of the times that I am so glad to be proven wrong. You just had this feeling that something was going to happen, all chaos was going to break loose, but credit to all of these amazing drivers. They've given us a fantastic race, an amazing spectacle to watch, and being completely clean and as the chat is saying, a complete masterclass in defensive driving and in how to attack cleanly as well. So absolutely amazing. But the race isn't over yet, as we still have battles happening up and down the order.
Yeah, great 10th position there for Ruby Acosta. Maya Laferla finishing in P11. Josie Austin coming across the line in P12. Beta Bachenska in 13th position. Lisa Louise, to confirm, taking that AM win, 2 out of 2 for Lisa, and some more important championship points on that one. That was a fantastic race. So much to talk about, but I mean, that was one of the posters for more female racers. I think if there's ever a race that you need to showcase people as to what more female racers is all about, this is absolutely the week that you show them.
Definitely. YouTube chat pointing out, and rightly so, nice job from the back markers, paying attention to what's happening and around them, and not influencing that battle. So fantastic driving up and down the grid. And XM3 saying a cheeky P5 for Penelope Dobbins as well. So absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. Penelope Dobbins then on her debut as a pro driver this week. And yeah, stellar performance, proving that they got it right by moving them up to pro. But also, it can be a difficult phase, because obviously when you go from AMP to pro, the level of driving ability also massively ramps up. And listen, Penelope showing that she can mix it in with the absolute best of them.
Yeah, definitely. So it's something that I mentioned earlier on, and I'm just going to reiterate the finishing order on track is still provisional. I know that the stewards are still looking at incidences. So can all change, and we will update you on the effects of any penalties post-race in the build-up to our final round in 2 weeks' time. You've only got a few minutes left to vote if you haven't voted already. Gap is starting to narrow. Laguna making a little bit of a late comeback, currently 55-45 in favor of Kyalami. So be sure to get your votes in. Voting will close at the end of our interviews.
Well, talking of interviews, I am literally just a seat filler this week for Ash Vandalay. So as a guest, Sam, I'm going to ask you, would you like to do the interviews this week?
Sure.
I could feel the trepidation as I asked that question.
Yeah, let's pull our drivers in. I am very keen to have a chat with Alexa and Honore, although I haven't seen Honore hasn't come into the waiting room just yet.
Well, you've got Alexa Gates and Mia Rose to have a chat with in the meantime.
Okay, so let's start with Mia. Hello, Mia.
Hello.
Hello. It's been a while since when we've seen you.
Yes. R Factor 2 caught my eye. Now this has caught my eye again, so we're back here.
Oh, so when we've been trying out a new game. So how are you finding R Factor 2 then?
Very successful in the Mon Virtual Cup last year, and didn't have that many successes recently. And the new update on ACC looked very well. I came in, jumped in, had a lot of fun, and
decided to join us again. Well, you've definitely added some spice to then the race tonight. So how was it from your point of view this evening?
It was good. Lot of mistakes not racing on this game with other people in a while in the first race, which is fair. But the second race was quite honestly just be the rear gunner. I let Honor and Alexa both fight it out. And just this track, a lot of people say is overtaking friendly, but when someone is so quick through the bus stop carousel section, there is nothing you can do to pass them. But yeah, getting fastest lap both races just from sheer coincidence was pretty funny, so I'll take it. Excellent. So
how much practice were you able to do? So now that I know you've come in from R Factor, how much practice were you able to get in before you jumped in the car this evening?
I think a total, excluding what I'd done in the race sessions, I think probably about 15-20 valid laps. So because I'd driven this car at Alton Park last week, so I already knew it a little bit, just bit of a faster track with less bumps. So
Yeah, excellent. And with our vote this evening between Kyalami and Laguna Seca, where does your vote lie?
As much as I like Kyalami as a track to lap by myself and Laguna Seca, I would rather have Laguna Seca just because it won't be a great track to pass at. But if you get any corner wrong, you are in the barrier. So, high risk of mistake.
Yeah, like lots of potential if you can keep it clean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At least in this game, we don't have the tarmac runoff they've recently introduced. So,
excellent. Well, whichever track we end up with next week, we'll look forward to seeing you there. Fantastic to have you back in the championship, and thank you very much for joining us.
That's all good, thank you.
Excellent. Enore,
hello, good evening.
Please walk us through what was going on in your mind in that final race.
I fucked up, and I fucked up again, and I'm never gonna forgive myself for fucking up that start. Sorry for my French, but yeah, I absolutely bungled the timing of the start, and it cost me the race.
Wow.
That's how it goes.
So what happened?
Basically, I misjudged the timing of the start by like, I don't know, half a second, and then because of how the start works in this game, essentially on basically every track P2, if P2 is right on the verge of their of where the game allows them to be, they're in front of P1 at the start. So you add that plus the fact that I bungled the timing, and there you go. Alexa was in front before we even started. Yeah.
And once you had ended up in P2 off then the start, what was going through your mind through then the rest of the race? Where were you hoping to get a pass done?
Anywhere really, but on this game it's really, really hard because you have one line and one line only. You go off that line, you get marbles, you get less grip. So on when you're battling someone with exactly the same car, it's really hard to pass sometimes, especially on a track like this, where it's all about momentum. If they don't break the momentum, that's it. You basically can't do much.
Okay.
Especially if you're like, I assume Alexa was using pretty much the same aero setup as us. So yeah, not much chance to pass on the straights either that way.
Mm-hmm. And with the next round vote being between Kyalami and Laguna Seca, do you have a preference between the two?
Laguna Seca by default, because you can somewhat race there on this game. Kyalami has given me the most boring races I've ever done on this game. Last year during a race at RCI, it was 1 hour. I don't think there was a single pass in a field of 30 cars or something. Not a single pass that wasn't a result of a crash or anything. It was awful. There was nothing to tell about this race. We raced for 1 hour and it was for nothing. We all ended up the same.
So clearly voting for Laguna Seca then.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Although I think with the results from today, I still get the title sealed anyway, I believe.
I don't have the calculations in front of me. We will definitely have all of that information for the next round. I know the stewards are still looking at this race, so everything is still a bit provisional. But once we've got that, then
from my calculations, Alexa can do at best 166 points, and assuming next week, I don't know, I don't show up, I crash or whatever, I still get 180. So I think I got it.
Well, we will definitely confirm everything coming into the next round. But fantastic, and as always, and Just hats off to a fantastic race. And then I know you made a mistake at the start, but you gave us some amazing racing to watch. So thank you very much for that. And we look forward to seeing more wherever we end up next race. So thank you very much.
Right. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye now. And finally, Alexa Gates. Well, that was a absolute defending masterclass. Thank you very much for that.
Where do I start with her? Well, I guess if I have to start anywhere, it's probably going to be as something along the lines of what Daniel Ricciardo said in Monaco a handful of years ago. Redemption. Absolute redemption. I'm so delighted about that. After what happened in race 2 at Imola, getting a track limit warning on the last lap by millimeters, if that, and it putting me outside of an always 10-second penalty window from the second race at Imola. But I think, if anything, there's probably 2 things that I'm good at in ACC, and that is the start and that is defending. And
you
both of them came in handy.
Yeah. So I mean, you've mentioned that you were good at defending. This is an excellent championship for new drivers coming into ACC. So do you mind sharing with us how you develop good defending skills?
I think it's just working out where you can make overtakes at what corners. So around Watkins, it's very, very difficult to make a move around the outside of any corner. Even going down into the bus stop, you're relying on the car on your inside to back out, which is very unlikely to happen. So for the most part at Watkins, you can just stick to the inside line, and more often than not, you'll hold the pace going into the corner. Coming out of it is a different story, and you have to be really cautious with your line that you take through the corner and your pedal inputs to try and either optimize your run as much as you can, or impact your rival's run as much as you can. Now, if that means going ever so slightly slower through the corner because you've taken such a tight line and they have to check up, otherwise they drive into the back of you on the apex, that's their fault. That's their problem. It's not mine.
Risky, but definitely high reward as well. So fantastic. Thank you for that. So with the next round potentially being at either Kyalami or Laguna Seca, which would be your track of choice?
So after the first round, we were all talking about what each other's favourite tracks were, and which ones we disliked the most. And I put 2 circuits in the bottom tier of my group, and that is Kyalami and Laguna Seca. So
you don't like either of them, but okay. So what's the lesser of the 2 evils for you then?
I really don't know. As someone who used to drive, who spent a lot of time in the McLaren, starting out in ACC through 1.7 and 1.8, Kyalami was an absolute disaster. Absolutely despised that track in the McLaren, and realistically, Laguna Seca isn't all that much better. I think Laguna would be more interesting because it comes up less often, but realistically, I don't really care.
Excellent. So, with everything looking, very, very interesting for then the next round. Thank you very much for some fantastic racing. But both David and I have been on the edge of our seat throughout that entire race, and we definitely look forward to seeing some more in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you. Just before I head off, just something that I want to cover from what Anor was mentioning. She is right in that she has wrapped up the title because even if she doesn't turn up to the last round, that would count as a drop round. And given that she's won all but one of the races that she's competed in, like, it would be impossible for me to catch her. So congratulations to her. She's definitely the class of the field, and I couldn't keep up with her. So it's well deserved.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, friend, for joining us, and Alexa, and we look forward to seeing you in the next round.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye now. Well, voting is now closed.
Well, there we go. Yeah, that was a bit awesome. So it's going to be Kailami. Kailami's the next one, and that means that we've got one more interview left to do, which is our rather awesome winner from both races tonight, Lisa Keane.
So sorry, I didn't even see Lisa waiting in there.
That's okay. She's just been waiting quite quietly.
Oh, Lisa, I'm so sorry.
Okay. No worries.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us. And how was then the race for you this evening?
Really good, to be fair. Best result so far. So I had a fairly quiet once. I think I was racing Le Frilia, beginning of both races, but she dropped back, and I sort of had a fairly comfortable race, really.
Excellent. So how much practice were you able to put in for tonight's race?
I did about half an hour last Thursday and about 10 minutes before tonight.
It always blows my mind, and it's drivers that rock up and say, oh yeah, I've only done about a half hour practice, and you just nail in a perfect race weekend. Fantastic. I don't know how you do it.
I don't. Just said, Mum's in hospital at the moment with a broken kneecap and different other things, so I've got lots on my mind at the moment, so I just haven't had the time to put in the practice.
Yeah.
But I had a teammate in my ear in the chat with me as well, so.
And how much of a benefit do you find having that support on the radio for you during a race?
It's more useful for spotting if there's incidents up ahead. I can say watch out or left, right, whatever. So they just keep an eye on the split times for us, and that's about it really. So, but it's nice just having somebody in my ear just for them time gaps and how long to the end of the race and a bit of encouragement.
Excellent. So our next round has now been confirmed because the vote has just finished, and it is Kailami over Laguna Seca. You happy with that result?
Yes, I voted for Kailami. I've never gone well at Laguna. It's a lovely track, but I've just never been able to go around there fast.
Yeah, I completely and totally agree with you. So hopefully you will be able to get some good practice in for Kailami, and we look forward to seeing you there in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us.
So there we go, Sam. Wow, what a night. How many days are you going to need to recover from that one?
Well, I need 14? To go and have it. I need to go and have a lie down, but unfortunately I can't because I've got a race to prep for myself. So I've now got to go and put in some laps myself. So no rest for the wicked.
Exactly. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure being alongside you. We get to do it all over again. Unfortunately, you have to put up with my voice yet again in 2 weeks' time when we do the final rounds at Kailami. But all that's left to do is say a huge thank you to all of the drivers taking part tonight. A huge thank you to you at home for watching. As always, a huge thank you to our production team behind the scenes of Mike Yao and to Michael Hamlet for giving us all of the up-to-date information. A huge thank you to Sam Pearce for putting up with me for the past 2 and a bit hours. And on behalf of everyone here at the Sim Grid, thanks very much for watching. Join us for the final round in 2 weeks' time, where we are off to Kailami. Have a safe week, and we will see you very, very soon.